Hello and welcome to another 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It's finished at Wembley. It's finished Spurs 1, Newcastle United 0. Really unfortunate way to lose a game given how strong we've been defensively against, and yes, they've been blunted by the absences of the likes of Dele Alli and Harry Kane, obviously. But the quality that Spurs have, they still remain one of the league's best attacking sides, and we kept them at bay for a really commendable period of time. And it was, as we all know, as you might have seen, ultimately felled by a goalkeeping error from Martin Dubravka, who we're quick to point out he'll earn us more points than he'll lose us this season. But it was a howler, and it cost us undoubtedly what would have been a really vital away point against a team who couldn't finish their chances before the goal, and we kept them at bay with shape. I mean, it was, again, tactically, game plan wise, it was really similar to the Man City game through the week. Obviously, we were a bit more proactive at home at St James's Park on Tuesday night as we were today at Wembley, which, playing home and away, you can sort of expect those kind of differences. But, you wonder whether we were just sat a bit too deep and just invited them onto us a bit. I think they were there. They were probably there for the taking, given the centre midfield that they had. Obviously Eriksen's in there and, playing a more advanced role. But, looking at, the Winks and Sissoko, they were kind of given the midfield battle that we won on Tuesday against some really world-class midfielders, to come up against Sissoko and Winks. You think, well, there's an opportunity to win that battle and kind of push and apply some pressure, and we kept our shape really well. Rafa named the same team. Barreca, the new signing, Antonio Barreca, was on the bench and eventually did come on for his debut. Didn't have much chance to shine really down that left hand side in place of Richie, but we rode our luck a little bit in the first half. They really, they had a Lucas Moura header that was onside, that was headed wide. Lamela, who had received caught a cross from Vertonghen really well, that came off the bar. So they had been threatening, and it was a bit nervy, and we were kind of having to throw ourselves about a bit, and maybe a more not panicked, it's maybe a slightly more fraught defensive display today than it was against Man City. I think even though we had moments to concede, you're always going to get that in away games against a team that's pushing to go second in the league. They're not there by chance. They're there because they're a very good team, well organised, dangerous, and who have a lot of quality. And that's what we were up against. And the result in midweek was fantastic. It's the result of the season, regardless of what happens between now and then. I don't think we'll better that. But you just there was an opportunity there where you think a draw is possible here, and we almost did it. I mean, they had sort of their chances in the second half as well. I mean, there was sort of two off the line really. There was the main one off the line from Cher, from a little corner came in and it was flicked on, and then a little hook on the outside of Eriksen's foot, improvised very well, past Dubravka, and Fabian Scher's read it and cleared it off the line. Obviously the goal decision system showed that it was very clearly not over the line, and it was no goal was awarded as a result. And then there was another cross came in, probably from a corner, and Richie's cleared it off not quite off the line, but a couple of yards in front of the goal line. He's had to clear that away. And so as much as they were very dangerous and created a lot of chances, they had 21 shots all in. We limited them to only 4 on target, and this is the same 4 on target that we limited Man City to in midweek. So if we're limiting these really strong attacking outfits to 4 shots on target, You know, if we're playing percentages, more often than not, we'll keep a clean sheet. You know, I think we only didn't keep a clean sheet today because of a goalkeeping error, and Dubravka would be the first one to hold his hands up and know he should have done better. But he is a good player. I think mentally he'll be strong enough to bounce back, and I don't think it'll be an issue moving forward. I think it's a blip, and you know, we've seen even the best goalkeepers in the league, you know, Alisson, Ederson, they've had howlers as well. They've cracked on with it. So, you know, he's not alone in that Dubravka, and you know, I'll get on to the goal in a second. But I think we did have chances. There was a counter attack in the first half, for example, where it was pulled back to the cross was pulled back to Perez, who was on his left foot, you know, probably from about 8 yards out, and it's been blocked very well. It came to Rondon. He tried to get his snap shot away. Eriksson got in the way. There was another one which was the ball was lofted at the back post. Yedlin running in there and trying to, you know, he could have done more with it. It's just, there was a couple of opportunities that you think we might, you know, we could do a smash and grab here. Obviously the second half, I think Benitez wanted us to push forward a bit more, be a bit more proactive, as we were against Man City, start asking them more questions and try and take the game to them a little bit, just because, you know, we were being pegged back by their consistent, relentless attacking play. There was you know, I thought Rondon was excellent again today. He really, really worked hard, kept the ball in those more advanced positions so we could gain territory. And, you know, on another counter attack, he feeds Perez, who's at the edge of the box. Now, he's got Richie on his left-hand side, completely unmarked. Whether or not he hears the shout, whether or not he looks and thinks that he wants to take the shot himself, I don't know. But to be honest, the shot wasn't too bad. It was a bit too central to be really worrying Lloris, who probably made a bit of a Hollywood save for it, for the corner. But, you know, in that position, Perez, I kind of would prefer Perez having a dig from sort of that, you know, nobody closing him down and just having a shot away, as opposed to Richie getting it on the left hand side, probably looking across it again. I think that I wouldn't have fancied Richie to have a shot from his left foot, his strong foot, his left foot, from the left hand side. It would have taken a hell of a shot to beat Lloris from even further out. So I think Perez, as much as Richie was in more space, I still think Perez was the best suited for that shot. And, you know, it showed that we were trying to knock on the door as well. Also Yedlin, who worked very, very hard, and I thought his defensive work, again, he kept Son out a couple of times with important blocks. He was relentless, his work rate, and he sort of played a 1-2 with Rondon. Rondon laid it out to him. He got a cross in, and Rondon, beautiful header, sort of had the spin on it as well, and it comes off the foot of Lloris's post, much to his relief, and you just think, if that had just snuck in. So we did have chances in both halves to do something with. Obviously in the first half we saw Moussa Sissoko coming close with an effort, which Dubravka saved low down. It bobbled around a bit, but it was then cleared away. We got bodies in the way, and I think when it came to the goal, the Son goal, it was one of those, wasn't it? So first of all, there was a shout of a handball from Llorente. Now I'm probably not having that. I think Cher, as much as he's not fouling him, Cher, there's enough contact there from Cher that there's a little bit of a push just as the ball comes across. I think it absolutely hits him on the arm, not the chest. I disagree with some of the pundits who said it's more chest, because I think that's an easy conversation to have. I do think it comes off his arm, but I don't think it's deliberate. Now, new rules that are coming in next year in the Premier League state that if an advantage is gained, even by an accidental handball, it'll be given as a handball. That's not the case now, and I think this is one of those incidents that comes under that umbrella, that comes under that category of it wasn't the player's intention, and I didn't because he was shoved by Cher from behind, but he did get an advantage in that it ended up being an assist. So, under current laws, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Next year's laws, that goal would never have stood. So that's where we are with it, and we just have to accept it. As for the touch from Son, I think we're poor. I think defensively we're poor. One touch takes 4 players out, and I just think that's too weak. We need to cover more space and not get so easily fooled by just a single touch of a football. I think Longstaff's the last man in there, and he comes far too far across where all of his teammates are already, leaving a huge gap behind, which Son strikes through. And there's a couple of flailing sort of legs that get stuck out. None of them actually touch the ball, but I'm wondering whether that's enough to have put Dubravka off. You saw before Llorente had a chance when he came on, you know, off the bench for Moura in the end, and he complained about the sun being in his eyes, and he headed, you know, horribly over. And you kind of think, oh yeah, using that old chestnut, using the terrible conditions as an excuse for missing. But actually, did that play a part in Dubravka's error? I mean, it just went straight under his hands and straight under his body, and it's an awful error, and it's a howler, and there's no really two ways of getting around it. It was absolutely down to him, that. And I don't think the shot should have come in so easily, but once it did, he did have a clear sight on it. Like I say, whether he was distracted by those flailing legs coming out, I don't know. Whether he was distracted by the sun, I don't know. But it's an error, and after, you know, with only 10 minutes to go, it's a huge sigh of relief for Spurs fans who were looking to get very frustrated, and they were looking very blunt otherwise. I mean, I say they've had 21 shots, and they had a couple of chances they were in. They were looking very profligate and lacking in confidence, and I think Son's got them out a huge hole there, because I think they probably wouldn't have begrudged a draw given how well we defended. We didn't really trouble them too much. I think if any team was going to win that game, it was probably going to be Spurs. I'd liked it to have been, you know, not through an error from one of our players, as it turned out to be. But I think we can take a lot of positives. We can take a lot of heart from that performance. Wembley's a tough place to come. Spurs are now second in the league, which shows just like I said before, the quality that they have. It was always going to be a bit of a write-off, this one, but I think the hard work starts next. I think we were away at Wolves, and onwards then to a run during February that could give us, you know, some chance for points. So we play Monday the 11th. In 9 days' time, we play away to Wolves. Then 2 weeks later, we're at home to Huddersfield. Then at home to Burnley within 3 days. So they're the big two. There for me, that's last year's Huddersfield and Southampton results. Fixtures. I think it's two very, very winnable home fixtures where we need to just be attacking now. Almiron wasn't available today, but he will be available for the Wolves game. So I'd like him to, even if it is just coming off the bench against Wolves, for him to be ready to start for that Huddersfield game on the 23rd, and that should give Rafa Benitez enough time to get him tactically up to speed and see what he's like and how he's going to integrate. And I think that's a very, very timely signing in terms of those two fixtures on the horizon. But I'd like to think we could get a draw from Wolves, even if we obviously love to win it. But I think you know, a draw at Molineux. Wolves are very, very up and down. They've had some really good results actually recently, but you know, they still have games where they're not at the races, and we could look to exploit that. And I think again, defensively, they're going to find it hard to play through, as you know, Man City and Spurs have found out this week. But with Almiron, we've got something else. We might even see Barreca starting in the next games as well, which gives Richie a bit of freedom to come into maybe one of those attacking positions. You know, today Kennedy came on. He didn't do too much, to be honest, in terms of, you know, attacking contribution. Barreca came on, made a couple of runs up the left-hand side, but he wasn't found that many times. In terms of sort of good performances, you know, I think Longstaff did decent. I thought Cher was okay, but I think today, he obviously that amazing clearance off the line, but I think there was a couple of times he was a bit complacent and sort of lost possession a bit too easily. Jose Perez seemed to be you know, the heart of everything that we did attacking. Apart from that Rondon shot off the post, I think he was involved in all of our major attacking moves. So I'm, you know, quite pleased with his performance today. And even right at the end, there was a flick on from Rondon that Perez nearly got his foot to before Lloris came out. So yeah, a bit disappointed with that. But at the start of the game, if you'd said yes, Spurs are going to win 1-0, would you have had many complaints about that? You'd think, oh, yeah, they probably will. So it's a defeat by a single goal, but it was always going to be a tough fixture. But loads of positives I think we can get at that. Tactically, I think we did as much as we can do against a team with, you know, that much quality. Even without Ali and Kane in the side, you know, every one of their players gets into our starting 11, doesn't it? So they're the levels we're at. So I'm not going to be too disappointed. I'm not going to lambast Dubravka too much. He knows that he's made a howler. Defensively, pretty good. We need to be just a little bit more clinical when we do get those few chances at the top. So and as I said before, 4 shots on target conceded in both the last 2 games. But in the same token, we've only managed 2 shots on target each in those 2 games. So, you know, Rafa's blanket firmly at the back of the formation, and maybe Almiron will stretch that blanket out a bit and will look a bit more dangerous in that final third, starting from the Wolves game. I've been out on the Toon Network. Thanks so much for watching. Get your comments in below. If you've been listening to this on podcast, please give us a 5-star review, and again, ratings, reviews, shares. It all helps. Thank you very much. I've been Adam. Bye. Bye.